Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I hope you are doing well. This week's Parsha is Shoftim. So again, we are in the book of Deuteronomy, the book of Dvarim, the final book of the Torah, which is crazy, because we are in the month of Elul, the final month of the Jewish year. So we're in like the December of the Jewish year. And when we get to December of the Jewish year, we start to reach the end of the Torah, because as you know, we restart the Torah on Simchat Torah. So funnily enough, we don't restart the Torah on Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year. We started over on Simchat Torah. So we have a bit of time. We have Rosh Hashanah, we have Yom Kippur, and we have all of Sukkot before we actually restart the Torah. So we have time. We're not just done with our Torah just yet, starting over again. But I want to talk about a few interesting things that happen in this week's Parsha. So again, it's called Shoftim. And as you may know, the word Shoftim means judge, law enforcement officials. So this parsha talks a lot about how people should set up their cities. And it's interesting that this is something that Moshe focuses on, that there's so much about judges and being fair. So just in the text, I wanted to show you, again, setting up law enforcement officials is very important. Everything shall be righteous. Again, Judaism is very much focused on justice and making sure that the right thing that is supposed to happen happens. And there's a very famous line in this week's parsha. You may recognize it. Justice, justice, you shall pursue. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdof. So, justice, justice, you shall pursue. Pursue, tirdof, to run after, to race after. It's an interesting choice of words because we could be told, justice, justice, you should do. But no, you have to pursue it. It's not about just, being righteous in your own life and doing what you can. It's that you must go out of your way, which is what pursue communicates to me. You must go out of your way to be sure that justice happens. And I think it's powerful. People often use this quote to justify a lot of Judaism focusing on social justice, which I think is, totally a valid thing, that when Jews see things that are wrong in the world, it's our responsibility to begin the work. As it says in Pirkei Avot, it is your responsibility to begin the work. But, you must not, you don't have to finish the work, or it's not your responsibility to finish the work. There's lots of quotes about social justice, and it's powerful to see this in the Torah. Something else that other laws and type things that we're taught about is later in the parsha. So all the laws of when we're in a war are given. So for example, here, when you are in a war against a city, you must not destroy its trees. You may eat of them, but you must not cut them down. Are trees of the field humans to withdraw before you into the besieged city? What is this communicating to us? People translate this very differently. Sometimes it's translated as trees are the men are the trees of the field. Okay. Oftentimes we see people compared to trees in a very poetic way. But what is this really saying to us? Are the trees of the field humans? So some people say, okay, trees are not able to run away from you, so you shouldn't strike them down because they're vulnerable and not able to run away from you. But also you may eat from them. Okay, so it's a practical sense. Even if you are kind of just upset, you want to salt the fields of those who you are trying to destroy. You also have to be practical and recognize that we are all doing things that are valid, and we must be respectful of nature that we're in. Another thing is just this comparison of Jews to trees. So I'm going to come to a part in Pirkei Avot. Pirkei Avot, as we know, Ethics of the Fathers, basically a nice quote book of all nice Jewish stuff. So there's a lot of quotes here. Where there is no understanding, there's no knowledge. Where there is no knowledge, there's no understanding. Where there is no bread, there's no Torah. Where there's no Torah, there is no bread. Okay, this is an important thing to include right before what we're about to talk about. When there is no bread, there is no Torah. Where there is no Torah, there is no bread. This is to say that even though Torah is this, sort of in our minds abstract concept, you need the practical things in your life to live your life. And this again reminds us of the fact that we're told not to cut down trees. A practical sense, you need trees to eat. So here, if you're someone who's so focused on Torah, so focused, not worrying about making money, not worrying about feeding your family, there is no Torah for you. If there's no wheat, there's no Torah. But if there's no Torah, there's no wheat either. We have to have a combination of things. We have to be balancing these actions with just kind of more, like I said, abstract things. But what I am mostly concerned about is this section where it says, One whose deeds exceed his wisdom, to what may he be compared? To a tree whose branches are few, but roots are many, so that even if all the winds in the world come and blow it, they cannot move it out of its place. As it is said, he shall be like a tree planted by water, sending forth its roots by a stream. It does not sense the coming of heat, its leaves are ever fresh, it has no care in the year of drought, it does not cease to yield fruit. Okay, so this is a very, long metaphor about trees, but it's talking about people. Okay, so the first one is, the first option is who's a person whose wisdom is great, but whose deeds are not great. Someone, that person does not have anything rooting him, in the same way that if you don't have wheat, you can't learn Torah. But if you are someone whose deeds exceed your wisdom, you are putting the practical things out in the world. You are expressing these practical ideas, and therefore your Torah learning is valid, and you're able to live your life and be content. So I think it's just a really, a few really cool concepts in this week's Parsha. Definitely, tell me what you guys think. If you were surprised that to be more deedful is better than being more wise, or if you would think that maybe being wise is better than being full of deeds. Let me know your thoughts. But I hope you have a great week. Shabbat Shalom. And please God, I will see you next week.